Hi, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a book haul. So in the last month to month and a half, I have acquired quite a few books. I did not expect to buy this many in this short amount of time. I normally don't, but I don't know what happened. There's just been so many new releases and I've just been going to the bookstore and seeing books that I want. My last book haul was in March and I wasn't planning to do one so soon, but then I started to realize how many books I have been collecting over the last month and a half and I felt like it was enough to do a whole video for it. So I'm just going to go through all the books that I have added to my collection recently. So the first few books I'm going to go through are books that I have already read, so I've already talked about them before on my channel. I also bought physical copies of them, so I'm just going to go through all of them, and they're all new releases from the last month, so that's why I have them and that's why I've already read them. So the first book is Happy Place by Emily Henry. Obviously I have already read this one. I did a whole video for it and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. This one is a second chance fake dating. The two main characters used to be together. They recently broke up, but they're on this vacation with all their friends and they haven't told their friends yet that they broke up, so they decide to pretend that they're still together because they don't want to ruin the trip for their friends. So obviously I really wanted a copy of this book because I love Emily Henry. I am really sad that it is a hardcover because all her other books obviously are paperbacks, so I was kind of annoyed that this one came out in hardcover first, and I was actually considering waiting and just not buying it yet and just getting the paperback once it comes out, but that's probably not going to be until next year. I didn't want to wait. I knew deep down I wasn't going to wait, even though I told myself I would try to wait. I knew I wasn't going to. I literally bought this the day it came out. I placed my order at Barnes & Noble and went and picked it up that day. My next book is King of Pride by Ana Huang. This one I also did a video for it. That was my last video, I'm pretty sure. I did a book review for it. So I had the first book, King of Wrath. I've had it since it came out and I finally read it recently. I absolutely loved it. So of course I also bought the second book. This one is a forbidden romance, opposites attract, and they're not supposed to be together because she works at this club that he is a member of, so she's not allowed to have any involvement with the members, but of course they have this connection anyway and they're just drawn to each other. So yeah, like I said, I recently read this one. I ended up really liking it. I really like Ana Huang, so I'll pretty much always buy her books. The next book I got was Coach by Devney Perry. Again, I read this one recently and I've also talked about it already. This one was a new release in April. Honestly, I wasn't really planning to read this book right away. I put it on my TBR, but I wasn't planning to read it as soon as it came out or anything, but then it came out and I felt like reading a sports romance, so I decided to read this one. This one follows a guy who gets a new job as the football coach at the university that he attended, and his best friend from college that he hasn't seen in 10 years also works there. She's the assistant athletic director, and so they reconnect again. It's a small town single dad romance. It was a cute book. I liked it. Anyway, my next book is The Playlist by Morgan Elizabeth. Again, I've read this one. I've talked about it already. I read it in April, so it was on my April wrap up, but this one is a rom-com where the main character goes on a road trip with her best friend's brother, and this one is a Taylor Swift inspired rom-com, so that's what drew me to it. That's the reason why I bought a physical copy of it, because I just think the cover is cute. It has all these little Taylor Swift related things. So my next couple books are books that I ordered from Amazon. The first one is Springtide by Kai Stevens. This one is a college football romance and it's also fake dating, and it just seemed really cute. It had been on my TBR, I knew I wanted to read it eventually, and so like I said, I read Coach last month because I was wanting to read a sports romance. I did this video of reading football romances, and I bought this book because I was intending to read it for that video, and I ended up replacing it and reading a different book instead. I wish I hadn't done that because the book that I read instead wasn't very good, and I feel like this one probably would have been a cute book and I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But yeah, I'm planning to read it eventually. I actually put it on my May TBR, so maybe I will read it this month. So my next book that I bought was just really unnecessary, I will admit, because I already have a copy of this story or these books, but I bought The Bad Reputation Duet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. So this is part of the Addicted and Calloway Sisters universe. This is Willow and Garrison's story. You do meet them in the Addicted series. I think in Addicted After All is their first appearance, I'm pretty sure. So Willow and Garrison's story is a duet. I think the books are Whatever It Takes and Wherever You Are. And I do have that duet. It's just two individual books, and then this one just has both of them combined into one book, and it has a different cover. I think it tells the story chronologically. I had been wanting to buy this book anyway. I just been waiting because it's a little bit pricey and I didn't want to spend the money, especially when I had the other two books. Like I said, I was gonna buy it anyway because it has bonus content and just other things in it that aren't in the regular duet. So I knew I was gonna buy a copy of it someday, and I just decided to go ahead and buy one now, even though I didn't need it and I'm not anywhere near ready to read this book. I need to finish the other series series first, but eventually I'll get to this one and I'm so excited to finally read their story. So my next few books, I got them at Barnes & Noble. They had their buy one get one 50% off table, so I bought a few books from there. So the first book that I knew I really wanted and was luckily a part of that sale was The Summer of Broken Rules. I think I had mentioned this. Yeah, I did mention it because I put it on my May TBR. But yeah, I was there and I saw a copy of it and I had been wanting to read it, and I think the cover's cute. I don't really know too much about it. I know it's a YA book, but it seems like it'll be a fun book for the summertime. So the next book that I got was The Way I Used to Be. Again, this one is also a YA book, but I've heard that it's a very like heavy and heartbreaking book. I wasn't sure about reading it just from what I've heard about it, but I've also heard it's really amazing, so I do want to read it. Like I'm interested in it, you know, but I am gonna save it for when I feel like prepared to read a book like this, and right now I don't want to, but like I said, I've heard it's really good, so I do want to read it eventually. So the next book that I got was The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This book is supposed to come after Mr. Wrong Number, and in this one I think the two main characters make like some sort of bet or something that involves their dating lives. I don't know, it just seems like a cute rom-com. I have been hearing good things about it. I'm excited to read it. This one was one that I was really wanting. Like I went to the store specifically to also get this book, and so like I said, this one was part of the buy one get one 50% off sale. So I also ended up getting X's and O's, which is another rom-com. This one's also like the second in a series, and I still haven't read the first one, which is Set on You. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Honestly, this one is one that I was planning to read eventually, but it wasn't one that I felt the need to like buy right away and like get to it right away. The main reason why I bought it is because it was part of the sale, so it was on the same table with The Love Wager. I know that this one is a rom-com, or the main character, I'm pretty sure she's a bookstagrammer, which is interesting, and then I guess she like gets in contact with her exes, and yeah, I feel like this one will be a fun book to read at some point. So my next few books that I bought, I got them at Target, but the first book that I got was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This one was a new release in April. I was really excited for it. This is the second book following Part of Your World, which I did recently read that one finally, so after reading it I knew immediately that I wanted to read this one. My next book that I got was When in Rome by Sarah Adams. So this book came out I think last year, and it follows this girl who's like this big pop star, and she ends up going to this small town and kind of getting stuck there for a little while, and then she meets this guy who I guess runs the bakery in town. So it's supposed to be like a cute little small town romance. So I heard about this book obviously when it first came out. I knew I wanted to read it. I read The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams and I thought that book was adorable, so I wanted to continue on with reading her books. So I was planning to read this one eventually. I just never bought a copy of it because it wasn't one that was like too high up on my TBR. Also, the cover, I don't really like it that much. Like it just wasn't very like appealing to me, so it just didn't really like draw me in. I would see it, but I never felt the need to buy it, but I knew I was going to read it eventually. I heard really good things about this one. Like I've heard it's just so cute, so I am excited to read it at some point. But the main reason why I bought this book is because the second book just came out, which is Practice Makes Perfect. This one follows, I think, the sister of the guy from the first book and then the bodyguard of the girl from the first book. And in this one, she owns a flower shop, and just the cover is just so adorable. This one I knew I wanted to buy it. It's just so cute with like the flowers and then the characters, like the contrast between them. So I knew I wanted to buy this one, and I'm excited to read it. Like I really want to read this one. I think I'm more excited for this one than When in Rome, but I am going to read them in order. And then the last few books that I got them from Amazon. I did have a gift card that I had been saving for the longest time, and I just had a little bit left over on it, so I finally just used what I had left over. So the first book that I got was Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This is a recent release that I'm really excited for. I'm planning to read it very soon, like possibly next maybe. I bought this one because I knew I wanted a copy of it, and I just also really love the cover. And then lastly, I did buy the rest of the Boys of Tommen series. So I have Keeping 13, Saving 6, and then Redeeming 6. So yeah, I completed my series. I do have the first book, Binding 13. It's on my shelf over there because I bought it like almost a year ago. I think I bought it like last June. So I finally bought the next 3 books even though I have not started the series yet, so who knows if I'm even gonna like it. I mean, I think I'm gonna love it, but you never know. But anyway, so this series is being traditionally published, and these versions, you're not gonna be able to find them anymore. And like I said, I already own the first book, and it would bother me so much that the books don't match, so I just spontaneously decided to buy the other 3. I did think about it for a little bit. Like I was trying to think logically and think like, you know, do I really need to buy these books? But I had the gift cards, so I just justified it by that because I was like, you know, it's not like I'm really spending the money, like I have a gift card. So yeah, I bought these 3. Now my series is complete. I was thinking about waiting until the traditionally published versions come out, but the first 2 aren't supposed to come out till November, and then the next 2 aren't supposed to come out until next February, and I just didn't want to wait that long. And like I said, I wanted my books to match, so I just bought these even though the series isn't even complete yet. Like there's gonna be more books, and so once the rest of the books come out, like they're not gonna match these, but that's okay. I'll just think about that later. But yeah, that was my book haul. Let me know any of your thoughts if you've read these books, and if you liked this and you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.